In this video, I want to show you how to replace your blower motor resistor. This is what it looks like. It's built into the blower motor, so we'll have to pull the blower motor out to do this, and it's located behind and underneath the glove box. Once you're underneath here, you have to remove these two T25 bolts, which hold this panel in place. Now you can pull the panel down. And right here is your blower motor. To get better access, I'm gonna have to pull the carpet away. Fold it down like this. Disconnect this hose over here because it goes underneath the blower motor, so we'll need access. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to disconnect this one over here for the blower motor. Looks like somebody used a wire tie, so I'm gonna have to cut that off. Pull the hose off, set it aside. While we're at it, let's unplug this. And it looks like the glove box is going to be in the way, so let's remove the glove box. Go ahead and open up your glove box, and with it open, you can reach in behind here. You'll see this piston. Pull it back, it'll unlatch from that little ball pivot, and now what you can do is there's going to be two tabs. One is right here, and what you want to do is lift the glove box up a little bit while you pull out on the tab. As you can see, that just unlatched, and you want to do the same to this side over here. That's the tab right there. So pull up on the glove box and out on the tab. And at this point, the glove box should come right down. And now you have many T25 bolts that go all around the glove box that you have to remove. So I'm just going to start on one end, work my way to the other. With all of these out, the glove box assembly should come right out, but don't go too far because you have this wire here. So unplug it, another wire here for the footwell light, unplug that one as well. Now you can remove your glove box assembly. The clips that we were trying to undo earlier, just so you can have an idea, are these right here. So what I was doing when I was reaching back here is I was prying this up while opening the glove box. You can see how this stops right here when you open the glove box regularly, but when you pry it, it'll open up fully and drop down. Now there are 5 T25 screws that you have to remove. Some are a lot easier to get to than others, and I'm going to start with the more difficult ones. One back here, that one's not so easy to get to. Same with that one back there, and then another one here, here, and one here. So these 3 front ones are easy to get to. I'm going to leave those for last. I'm going to start with this one over here. You'll definitely need a swivel socket, or at least a swivel adapter. Okay, there's one. Now let's get the other difficult one out. I'm going to switch to this little driver, and maybe this will help me get in there better. It's not coming out. It'll either fall out in a little bit or it can just stay in there until we remove it. There we go, that just fell out. And there it is. Out comes the blower motor. This tab's broken. Someone must have already been in here before. But regardless, here's the blower motor. First, I'm going to remove this plastic cover from the housing, and all you have to do for that is just pry it up and out of the way. Then I'm going to unplug the blower motor from the resistor, remove those wires, and next what I need to do is get a T25 Torx in here and remove these 2 screws that hold the housing and the motor together, because we actually have to separate the housing and pull it up and off from the top here, or I guess this would be the bottom because it's upside down, but we have to separate the 2 is what I'm trying to say. We have to pry this apart. Sometimes you'll need a screwdriver to help you out. I'm actually going to opt for a very small pry bar and just stick it in here where the connection is. Just try to pry up gently, just like this. Go to the other side, pry up on this side. The plastic housing is pressed on, so it's not, at this point, it's not being held on by anything other than just the pressure. So, there we go. That's removed. Pull the wires out. To unbolt the resistor, use that same T25 Torx and remove the 2 Torx screws that hold it onto the housing. There's one over here, and there's another one right here on the other end. Push it up from the bottom, unlodge it, and this is your blower motor resistor. Now take your resistor, slide it down into the housing, and let's bolt it back up. When you tighten these screws, don't go too tight. They're just screwing into plastic, and you don't want to strip it out, and then it won't stay tight, in which case it'll start contacting your blower motor, and that is not good. So, snug it up. Now take your blower motor and slide it down, but make sure that the wire goes through the correct opening. It's this one right here. This other opening has these cutouts here. It does not go through that one. It goes through this one, which has kind of like a wall around it. Slide the wire down and through first, and line up the connection point with the cutout in the housing, and then you want to slide it down and into position. Center it up and press it down, just like this. Make sure it comes out the other side. Obviously it does, so that's perfect. Let's connect it. Make sure it clicks. Now let's secure the blower motor onto the housing. I have some new screws here, which are Phillips head now. Doesn't really matter as long as it's nice and secure. All right, now we can install this cover that covers up the screws, the wire, and creates a path over here for air to circulate. Line it up. All you have to do is basically just snap it into place once it's lined up. If it's not lined up correctly, it will not secure itself. So there's a tab here. There you go. Press it down. Make sure it's locked in over here by the connection as well. There we go. Now let's install this in the vehicle. Now it's time to get this blower motor assembly back in. Line it up the way it needs to go, which is this way, and slide it right into place. It shouldn't be very difficult to slide up. The only difficult part is going to be starting in the screws, because you have to hold it with one hand and start them in with the other. I'm going to start this one over here as much as I can by hand, and then I want to start one in the back here, well, on the side, to hopefully have that side held in place. Maybe I'll start that one back there also. Basically whatever I can reach. Tighten up these front ones first a little bit so I can get the blower motor up a little more, situate it better. Okay, that one's snug. Snug this one up also. I'm going to move to this back one, snug this one up. Okay, I'm going to put this one in here, and I'll leave the most difficult one for last, because the more screws I put in, the better it's going to line up, so I'm going to have an easier time putting the last one in. Okay, so the last one we have left is that one all the way back there. Started it in by hand. I'm going to use my little mini bit driver ratchet to tighten it up. Okay, it's nice and snug. All right, it's time to reconnect these hoses here. They're for water drainage, so it's important that you put them back. This one as well. This one had a wire tie around it, but it's pretty secure in there, so I'm not going to put another wire tie around it. If you want to, go for it, but I'm not going to. Let's plug in the blower motor over here, or the resistor that would be, and then that feeds power to the blower motor. Anyway, now that's all plugged in, let's get the carpet back in place. Hide all the wires. Make sure you still have this wire hanging out here, because this is for the light that goes down here by the footwell. Grab the glove box again. Let's plug it all in. Green wire over here. And then there was the gray wire over here. There we go. Light turns on. Let's reposition the glove box. And while holding it in place, I'm going to try to start a few screws here. so I can then let go and tighten them, but it at least needs to be held in place temporarily. And before you close it, pull out on this little piston and try to hook it into this ball right here. I won't be able to get you a close-up shot, but you can hopefully see a little bit from over there. Okay, there we go. As you can see, that's hooked in again. It's not easy to see. You can either reach it or see it, only one at a time. So now put back all of your belongings if you had any, and then go ahead and close a glove box. And now take this panel and let's cover everything with it. On the inner part here, it needs to actually clip into this other panel. Make sure that everything lines up. Got some push clips that'll secure it in place. And now the two T25 mounting screws. All right, and now you'd go ahead and test out your blower motor, make sure everything works as it should.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.